Welcome to Empower Her Radio, the podcast for healthcare moms who want to break free from limiting beliefs, build unshakable confidence, and step into the truest expression of themselves, both personally and professionally. I'm your host, Corey Wynn. I'm a wife, a mom, a doctor of physical therapy, and a peak performance strategist. Working with highly motivated women to transform their lives and inspire those around them is what truly lights my soul on fire. Each episode, whether it's a solo session filled with actionable strategies or an inspiring interview with a woman who has overcome significant obstacles, is designed to leave you feeling worthy and confident in the value you have to offer everyone around you. I hope you walk away empowered and ready to take that next step to lead your life on purpose. Now, let's dive into today's show. We're okay, but I'm completely overwhelmed and I'm going for a walk. That's exactly what I said to my husband about 6 months into our marriage, and I will never forget the look on his face. He looked completely shocked. And if you know me at all, or if you've been following me at all, you know that I am part of a blended family. My husband was married before and has two beautifully amazing children. So I am a mom of one daughter, and I am a stepmom to an amazing son and an amazing additional daughter. And I feel incredibly blessed to have been invited in to their life and to see them grow up. They're both grown and out of the house. And I also wanted to take this episode to just get a little bit more personal with me, for you to get to know me a little bit better, the things that I've grown through, and talk about the challenges of me being a recovering perfectionist, the challenges of me having grown up as an only child, having lived alone before getting married, and being catapulted into this beautifully amazing family that already had its inner workings figured out. It already had the routine. And 6 months in, I was completely overwhelmed. Like I said, I grew up as an only child, so arguably I got to make a lot of the decisions. As I moved through college and graduate school and my first job, I lived alone. So I really was totally making all of the decisions. I didn't have to ask anybody. I didn't have to consult anyone. I didn't have to share. I didn't have to coordinate. I didn't have to compromise. It was nothing but me. And I got to do things on my time, when I wanted them, how I wanted them, how quickly or slowly I wanted them done, and didn't have anyone else to congratulate or blame if they didn't go the way that I expected them to go. And I remember about 6 months into our marriage, I came home, and each day we had a plan of what was happening that day. If you know me at all, I'm the queen of plans. I make all the plans. I create every single little detail. And then, the Lord, Spirit, whatever, use your language, totally laughs at me because it's completely obliterated by the end of the day. But that's not something that I was used to 11 years ago. I expected the plan to continue on as the way that it was supposed to. I expected there to be some semblance of the plan left by the time we got home from work and the kids got home from school. And every day for 6 months, it felt like not a single portion of that plan was even available anymore. It was like it had never happened. And I remember thinking, I have no idea what I'm going to do with all of this. And I hope that this episode gives you a glimpse of what it's like to be in a blended family, that you feel validated in the struggles and the nuances of stepping into something that's not yours, that's stepping into something that's already created, and being able to let go and compromise and go with the flow more. And if my amazing step kiddos ever listen to this, they're probably going to laugh because I failed forward at this more times than I'd like to admit. And Like I said, 6 months in, I was completely overwhelmed. I had no idea what I was doing, no idea where I was going, and how I fit into this intricate routine that was already figured out. And if any of you know my husband, he is incredible, he is amazing, and he is a doer, he's a fixer. He handles all the things. And stepping into a situation where somebody is used to doing everything by themselves and had been for several years, finding your place and finding what you can do is a very delicate dance. And I remember looking at him one night as we were cleaning up from dinner and making lunches and whatnot, and everything that I stepped in to do, he took over. Not because I was doing it wrong, not because it had to be a certain way or a certain thing, but that's just what he'd had to do. He had been the only one for a while doing the dishes, doing the laundry, making sure the kids were fed, all the things. And I remember looking at him saying, okay, you can make a space for me in this kitchen, in this house, or you can resent me for sitting over there on the couch doing nothing because everything I've started, you've stepped in and taken over. And to this day, 11 years later, we still do this little dance around in the kitchen, and I'll just look at him out of the corner of my eye and he'll say, I took over again, didn't I? And now we laugh because it's hilarious, and he steps back. And I remember so many times knowing how I grew up, knowing respect for children, knowing what should or shouldn't be said or what should or shouldn't be done. And let me just tell you, my amazing bonus children have taught me so much more about parenting than I ever thought that I could know and still learn to this day because they had a plan in place already. And I was coming into something that was already working, that didn't need tweaking. And I look back and think about the amount of times that I reacted poorly or I felt something should be done another way. Because let's be honest, I am very rigid. I am very concrete. I'm very logical. There's a right and there's a wrong. There's a black and a white. There's not a whole lot of gray. And it's taken many years of personal growth, of growing up as a human and leaning in and listening to the needs of others, that there isn't one right way to do something. There isn't one path that has to be completed, and being able to step back and let go of a little bit of my perfectionism, go of a little bit of my planning, let go of a little bit of needing to be in control of everything, I know has helped everyone else in our household. And I was talking with another mom that has a similar situation, and coming into a blended family, whether you have children of your own or whether you don't, is an exercise in compromise, an exercise in communication, and figuring out how to not step on toes, to not do too much, but also not to do too little. And I never wanted to be my bonus children's mom. But stepping into the stepmom role can be very tricky. You don't know what to say, you don't know what to do. And like I said, I failed at it a lot. And I think what's most important now that my bonus kiddos are grown is that they can come to me and say, hey, this didn't work so great, or this did. And what I'm learning from having gone through a little bit of their childhood and their teenage years, it's prepared me more with my daughter. And I feel very blessed to have had those times with them so that I can recognize maybe what I did wrong, or recognize they can tell me, hey, this would have been more helpful at this age. And I also know, and we've had so many conversations, that there will be a time when our youngest daughter will go to them when she has trouble, or when she has something that she feels like she can't talk about with us. And I'm so blessed that she has her older brother and sister to bounce ideas off of, complain about mom and dad, all of those things, and continue this beautiful dance of having a blended family. And so often we don't feel like we're seen as moms, as wives. And when you add another family dynamic in there with other children and with co-parenting, it can be the most incredibly difficult thing that you do each day. And if you can find another mom, another family, a group and a community of women who have gone through it, who have made it out of the other side, who you can bounce ideas off of, and just recognize, wow, I'm not alone in this. It is incredibly powerful. Because let's face it, motherhood and working, motherhood and momming, like as far as a stay-at-home mom, we have all of these different roles, whether you're working in a professional setting or whether you're working from home as a stay-at-home mom. It can be incredibly isolating. And I can know that there's so many times when Eliza Jane was younger, when my older kiddos were younger, that you thought, am I the only one going through this? Does this have to be this hard? Am I losing my mind because I thought it would be easier or I thought it would be different? And I'm here to validate those feelings, but also let you know that you're not alone. There are so many people who are currently going through maybe what you're going through or have gone through what you're going through. And there is another side to it. And my husband and I talk so often about kind of not being prepared for parenthood. And we look at each other every so often and think, we're really, really responsible for making sure another human makes it through another day. Who put us in charge of this human? And the other side of it, if you step back, you can recognize how blessed you are to have that opportunity. But in the grit and in the difficult moments, it can be so incredibly difficult and you can feel like you're drowning. And I think I was 9, maybe 10 years old. And my father sat me down at the dining room table and he said, "You are not a princess, and you are not the only person who lives in this house." And I remember feeling so completely shocked. And in that same sentence, he said, "You know what, honey? I'm new at this dad thing, and you're new at this kid thing, and we have got to work together, or it's going to be a long road ahead." And at the time, I remember feeling pretty snarky and feeling kind of still in my princess world of being a child and thinking that, well, I just want this. This is how it should be. But now that I'm a parent, I have called my dad and laughed so many times about that because parenting doesn't come with a resource manual. There are incredible books out there about parenting. There are incredible guides and coaches and psychiatrists and psychologists who have a wealth of knowledge about parenting. But there is no one size fits all. There is no one way to juggle momming and working and being a spouse. There isn't. And I hope that you can give yourself grace today, whether you're in a blended family or not, and recognize that what may have worked yesterday may not work today. I was talking with another client earlier today, and we were just talking about how we were raised and how our parents parented is not or has not worked for our children. And trying to figure out and be in limbo and test this and test that and figure out what works and what doesn't work. And just being able to step back and give yourself grace that this season will grow, this season will pass, whether it's hard or whether it's amazing, it will pass. And knowing that it's okay if it feels like it's really terrible right now, or if you feel like you have absolutely no idea what you're doing and that you're failing on all fronts, because you aren't. You are still keeping a small human or a big human alive every day, fed, clothed. Sometimes that's all the win that you can have. And just keep going. And I hope that if you need external resources, you're able to get them through a psychologist, through occupational therapy. There are some really incredible resources here in Colorado, as well as all over the country with pediatric therapists and occupational therapists, especially to help with those transitions, to help with anxiety, to help with kiddos that, maybe you're just having a hard time. And in that process, don't forget about what you need. Even if it's 5 minutes to be locked in the bathroom and say, whoo, got home from work and it's chaos and I just need a minute. Because if you're able to take that minute, everyone else in your house will be able to benefit from you feeling fulfilled. So that's just a little bit more about me. I hope it empowers you to take the time that you need, that you feel seen and that you feel heard as a mom and a wife, whether you're a bio mom or a stepmom or an aunt or a grandmother or whoever you are taking care of humans. You're amazing, and you need to remember that and be told that sometimes because you might not always feel appreciated. Thank you for tuning in to today's show. I just wanted to pop in with a quick offer. If any of the topics we talked about today have left you wanting more for your life and you just aren't sure how to take the next step, I'd love to offer a free discovery call to see how the high-level coaching and strategizing I offer may be of service to you. Just head to CoreyWynn.com and click on Request a Discovery Call. That's www.CoreyWynn.com. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you on the next episode.